Steven, watch out, another cop.
Another one?
Yeah, another one.
Oh, well, that's... Yeah, well, today's not the day for that. On that note, though, I do want to give a big shout-out to Officer Dixon for going out of her way to make sure that the roads in Illinois south of Chicago are safe from yahoos like us, because apparently if you're closer than 3 car lengths to the car in front of you and you're doing within 3 above the speed limit, you get pulled over when you have Maryland plates, and your cover story is, we work at a podcast, we just did a show in Iowa, we're going to Ohio to split up so he can go to Connecticut and I can go to Virginia, because it doesn't sound suspicious at all.
No, we're not drug runners.
But on the upside, she was cool about it. She had actually not listened to a podcast, didn't know what it was, so got a chance to explain it to her, and gave her the card and chit-chatted for a bit while she wrote our warning, and let us off with just make sure you keep distance and don't speed, and let us carry on about our way. Pretty fun trip.
Absolutely priceless. I thought it could go way worse. She said she was a canine. I saw the little badges on the wings of her shirt, and I was like, well, this is what dreams are made of.
I mean, we're like the perfect picture for a potential drug bust, and we kind of ruined her day, but who knows, maybe we gained a listener. If you're out there listening, let us know. We appreciate it, Officer Dixon.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice shot. Here comes a shooter, big buck. Stag.
To the Outdoor Drive podcast. We were on our way home from the Iowa Deer Classic 2020. It's finally nice to be out of the dungeon. It was a great show, great turnout. The hospitality was fantastic. Met some really great people, and we'll get into that shortly, but I just want to start by thanking the people that we partner with here at the Outdoor Drive. Let's start off with Nor'easter Game Calls. Get them in close. Thank you for standing by us. Mock. And next on the list would be Ethics Archery. Big Hoss and Scott over at Ethics Archery. Thank you for partnering with us and dealing with our shenanigans and bullshit as we try to kill things throughout the season. I don't know. Are
they putting up with ours, or are we putting up with...
Caution.
It's kind of a two-way road.
That is
fun.
I guess so. That is a two-way road. Also... adding to the list, Wicked Twisted Bowstrings, Jill up at Trader Jan's. Thank you. We appreciate it for Jillifying our bows here in the near future. So we thank you for partnering with us.
And trust me, we need it.
Yeah. And also, we are now partnered with Broadside Camo.
That's right. Got to put a big thanks out. Scott, man, we had a good time with you. And what you're coming up with is unique. I really look forward to dropping some of that information on the listeners' ears.
Yeah, so now you guys have now listened to the Broadside Camo podcast and kind of know a little bit about the Ascender series and the Closer series. So go and check them out. Get them for you. They're for you. It saves for the pocket.
Booner.
Wow, they're bedded up in there and everything. There's deer everywhere. So... honestly, I mean, the show was great. It was a great show. Met tons of people. We had a great time. Beer Can Alley with the WCB boys, hanging out. Met a metric ton of people that you guys will probably see a lot of them on the show. Thanks to Steve Finnegan from the Iowa Deer Classic for allowing us to be inside of the dungeon. I guess we'll start with Steve. What is something that kind of like set apart this show from every other show for you?
There were a couple different things that really differentiated from other shows I've been to. One, this family at the Iowa show it's close, it's tight. Getting to hang out with the working class boys, catching up with them. The outdoor group, Christian and Larry and Philip Vanderpool, we all got to just hang out. And it was just a good time. It wasn't near as crazy as Harrisburg. So the conversations, the joking, the camp feel really was here. And you're constantly surrounded by, world-class deer everywhere you turn. And that it really sets a good vibe for the show. Harrisburg, it's about seeing some cool stuff, but it's about squeezing through lines and Amish food. Yeah. This one was more about, let's all hang out, have a good time, show a little love back and forth. And
I think the vibe is totally different with the people around also.
Definitely.
It's like
people in Harrisburg are friendly, like very friendly.
There's still New England people though.
Yeah. People at this show were all just laid back, relaxed, wandering around, having a good time. No one was in a hurry. There wasn't any stress on their part.
Even the people in the general public, like when we were going out and getting food and stuff, they...
Oh, yeah, super friendly. Good hospitality. It was different in a good way.
For sure.
But, I'd be happy if I could go around and horn hunt and hunt deer and all of that, the caliber of what they do.
Well, we did try that.
Yeah, we did.
That went to a dead end of nothing.
Well, when you've got an hour of daylight left and you find the first applicable piece of wooded filled mix that you can potentially get into, and you find out it's really just kind of like a maintenance entrance to a golf course, and you only had about 100 and some odd yards to walk before you couldn't go any further. What do you expect?
Yeah, no, fuck you, bitch. There's no toll booth. So, anyway, the thing that kind of stood out most for me is honestly the connections, the love, the brotherhood. We made a couple of, I think, key connections here at this show, and it always seems to be that you see the same people at every single show, but you seem to connect with different people every single time. And for me was honestly connecting with Scott. Scott's a genuine dude, man. Scott is a one-man show and came from virtually nothing, man, as he said in his podcast, to now having something that is absolutely just evolutionizing.
It's unique.
It is truly unique. So it was very nice to meet Scott, work with Scott, and I'm really looking forward to the future with Scott. But also, there was one other connection that we had made here, and it really kind of struck home with me, is the Buck Fever film.
That was cool.
And you guys will hear about this in the future, and I don't want to get too in-depth in it, but I'll give you a little runaround. I want everyone to kind of take their time out of their day and go and check these guys out on Facebook or Instagram. They are doing a GoFundMe to help out this project, and this project is a very, very unique project, and one that I feel will help our industry and help the people that surround us day in and day out. And what this project is they're following the butcher buck. And if you guys don't know what the butcher buck is, man, go out and find out what the butcher buck is. Mr. Butcher, Brian Butcher, I believe it's Brian, right? I'm almost positive it is. It may not be, but Mr. Butcher by any means, we'll call it that. Shot a buck of a lifetime, which is over 300 inches. It's over 20 points. And he shot this buck not even knowing that this buck existed. They had one pitcher in early season and was able to take this buck. He had came in, his boss told him to go to the stand, so on and so forth. But anyways, he took this buck, and there's a film that's following him from start to finish and going through the Pope and Young, measuring and everything like that, and everything that he's dealing with shooting a world-class whitetail here in the United States. And they're taking this film and they're putting it out to anti-hunters or uneducated hunters or uneducated people to the hunting industry. And it's something that we got to sit in on, and we got interviewed to be part of this film. And this film is hoping to debut a trailer here in the next couple of weeks. So go out and check them out on Facebook or Instagram. It's Buck_Fever_films on Facebook and Instagram. And check them out. Follow this along. This is going to be something huge for us in the industry. And they've kind of, when they started to dive into this, they started to realize that the shed hunters, the buying of antlers, what is buck fever, what drives people to go and be quote-unquote trophy hunters, and they're starting to realize that there really isn't trophy hunters in the whitetail world, but the conservation side of it, and finding true people that are passionate and love this outdoor sport. So
ultimately, what they're trying to do is shed positive light on hunting for the outdoor industry, just to really let people see that there's more to it than I want to go out and kill a giant deer.
Toll booth.
And apparently there's a toll booth that doesn't exist.
there's no toll booth.
But that's what their goal is to help people understand
Toll booth.
why buck fever is so addictive to us as whitetail hunters. And it's just a really cool concept that they're going down, and I'm more than happy and proud to be supportive of it.
And honestly, the funny thing of it is the two directors, Steve and Greg, are actually not hunters. Steve started off
makers.
Yeah, journalist. I mean, Steve's a journalist.
Yeah, he was with the ODAs back in early Afghanistan with some of his first work. So he was embedded with Special Forces.
And so Steve was a prior hunter and hunted before, but those two are non-hunters, and they're working with somebody who is a hunter to build this project. So there's both sides of it here, and they're actually portraying this in a very positive manner. So go out and check them guys out, man. They really are good-hearted people, and they're really doing something huge for this industry, and they're really opening up the world for us.
And spread the word. You know, the more support they get, the better this film's going to be, and the more positive we can shed on the outdoor industry as a whole.
And let's be honest, I mean, like, me and Steven get to be honest, so obviously it's going to be the best film you've ever seen. Duh.
I mean, you hear our voices, but not many of you get to see our faces, so they may go the other way after that happens.
Yeah, this is very true. Well, hey, let's take this back, because they may see our voices up to this point, but they're going to see plenty of our faces in this upcoming season, and that is one of the goals that we are shedding. Get it, shedding.
I see what you did there.
Shedding the light on is video. So you're going to see a lot more of us. We started to do a little bit of video. As you guys may know by now, is we did do a video with broadside camo. So there is a tutorial through the new Ascender series of that. So really excited for that, man. The show has definitely been a great show. I'm very excited to have been there, and we had a lot of fun. We truly did.
Oh, definitely.
Saturday night was a little rough for myself.
Not in a party way, just so we're clear.
Just in real. It was very tough because it's kind of stupid, but I was taking Prilosec OTC, which is like an antacid, acid reflux medication, and it really had me all fucked up. And I was like, had hot flashes, and I was all messed up. And then you're mixing it with beer and greasy ass
food.
Yeah, it fucked me up. So I sat out on the party on Saturday night, but Friday night was fun. We got to grab some food. Went to Beer Can Alley. Then we went to a bar named Outlaws. And if any of you guys haven't been to Des Moines, every single bar for some reason has like 3 levels.
Yeah, it was unique. I'll give it that. I've seen similar stuff in Colorado, but not every bar next door to each other doing the same thing, and it was wild.
And it's being a college town. I mean, there's just bodies everywhere, and we saw some really weird shit. We saw some cool shit. We saw. I mean, it was a fun environment, man, and and it was really cool to be part of it. That was a great aspect of the show. But I mean, honestly,
you know what? I was actually very proud of someone over that weekend and throughout the party night Friday, and I mean the weekend in whole, is Austin Chandler made it the entire weekend and didn't have a single drink. He wanted to see if he could do it just to do it for health reasons and just for sheer will. I mean, not that he has an issue with willpower. He just said he wanted to see if he could do it, and he did. He pulled off the entire weekend without a single drink, being around all of us knuckleheads. That's not easy.
No.
So, big props, Austin.
Yeah, man, congrats. That's fucking a huge achievement, man.
And that's
really
the thing.
awesome.
One thing I want to point out is, in this world, this industry, whether...
Toll booth.
Here we go again.
No fucking toll booth.
You don't have to drink to have fun with these guys. I mean, they take you in, and they have a good time regardless. So, don't get it twisted that these guys, all they do is drink and do shows. That's not reality.
There's a controlled madness to it, I guess you could say.
Yes. It's a great way to put it.
When it comes to this, I mean, business means business, and yes, we like to indulge, we like to have fun, we like to enjoy ourselves, we get a little crazy, but there's control. There's a lot of control to our madness, and we watch out for one another. We take care of one another. We make sure that one another doesn't get out of control, and we reprimand people that are within that do these kinds of things, and or shun them out one way or another. So I just want to make that very clear. When you hear us talking about trade shows and we're partying and this, that, and the other thing, there is control to our madness. Somebody is always watching out and taking care of everybody so that nothing bad happens to any of us or anybody gets out of control. So,
but on the flip side of that, Allison is a beast. She was the last person standing
with Eric.
Yeah, with Eric. Eric was there too, out of everyone on Saturday night. Everyone else had to cut it in early, and they held down the fort. I mean, mad props. And if you haven't caught, she's got some cool stuff coming out, and you guys ought to check some of her latest articles. Yeah,
for sure. She just had a pistol one come out, right?
Yeah, she had an article come out. They really cool photo shoot. I'm looking forward to reading that one.
You know, one thing I was really jealous about the whole entire weekend, to be honest with you, Steven, was everyone got to go shed hunting.
I know. What,
a little pissed. We saw Caitlin and
Caitlin who?
Caitlin. Yeah, Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin.
Yeah, you know Caitlin.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know Caitlin?
I know Caitlin.
Oh, you don't.
Does everyone else know Caitlin?
I'm not really sure if that's.
So anyway, they were smart enough to take a break and do some shed hunting.
And there was actually a couple of people. Lauren and her boyfriend got to get away.
Oh, and that deadhead was insane.
That was insane. And it's Caitlin Moss, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah.
So everybody else knows. She was actually a PA resident. I met her in Harrisburg a couple of years ago, and she ended up moving out this way now with her boyfriend, and they went out shed hunting, and they found some sheds. I mean, it seemed like everybody we talked to was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna break away and go out shed hunting," or "We went shed hunting," or.
And we're not just saying they went out and found like one or two.
What they find 21 in one day?
I think it was she found one and then they found 23
the next day.
Yeah, because she was pissed because she wasn't there for that day.
Yeah, so it's totally different for us when we hear these guys out shed hunting, and I'm glad that I'm be going back home, but we're bringing the fucking rain with us, so it's going to be raining the next couple of days, which is always good for shed hunting.
Good for shed hunting,
yeah.
But just if it's going to do anything at this point in the year, I wish it'd snow and get it over with.
Yeah, for sure. You know something? Let's speak about sheds, or the amount of fucking sheds upstairs in the Iowa Deer Classic, and the variation of them. I mean, they have a shed contest there, and there's just some absolutely magnificent antlers up there. Every shape, size,
configuration.
I'm absolutely mind blown.
I mean, 55-inch 6 points. Just to put that into perspective, one side. That's just one side. of just 3 of the 6.
And it's insane. I can't believe it. The big 8-pointers, 10-pointers. There's all kinds of bucks. I mean, it was just wall to wall with just massive bucks. I don't think there was a buck in there that was under 100, and I didn't see anything.
Smallest one I saw was a net score of 121. It was gross score of $157, I believe, but its net was 121.
Was it in the typical category? Or
yeah, that was in the typical category.
I couldn't believe the non-typical archery kills. 260, 220, 250. I was absolutely blown away. I mean, if you want to see some of these bucks, I've posted up a video on my personal Instagram, CT Trev, of some of them, and I'll put some up on the Outdoor Drive throughout the time. I'll throw them up on the story just so everyone can kind of check them out.
Well, what about that buck when we were walking coming out at the end of the day last night that had that growth out of its cheekbone, had a horn growing out from underneath its eye?
Oh, yeah. I had posted that a couple of days ago now, which would, while the time you were hearing this, but in podcast land was yesterday. There was one that actually came out of the cheekbone, and what Steven's talking about, it's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches out of it actually came out of his cheekbone. They thought that it was a pedicle that came down, but it was actually out and grown out of the cheekbone. And with talking to or listening to the guy who shot that deer, he actually was saying that there is a couple of deer on his farm. Three Steven's confirming here.
Yep. They've got 3 deer off that farm with the same genetic structure. They literally, it looks like a hog's tooth coming out of the cheek right under the eye. It's gnarly looking.
He said that the year before, the trail cam pictures, he said it was over 9 inches out of his eye.
Jeez.
Off the cheekbone, and then it actually deducted this past year to be the 1.5 inches, 2 inches that it actually was, which is pretty incredible. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I know that this stuff kind of like, you see like the unicorns or the ones that are unicorning on the same pedicle as the regular horn, you know, which would make it like a split beam, you would call that, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be a split beam.
But now this is coming out of the cheek. I don't even know what you call that. Do you call that like a split cheek? I'm not really sure.
I don't know what the word for it would be. I've never seen it.
It was incredible. I mean, everything you could possibly imagine about big bucks, was there and in that place. Look at all the Amish homes, man.
Oh yeah,
Look at the Amish wagons,
nice and clean.
no power, the old style silos. It's just incredible. We're getting into Western Ohio, right?
We're in Indiana, I think, or almost to Indiana.
Oh no, we just went through Elkhart.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. There was actually. Now I'm saying that so that we are in Indiana.
The car's driving itself and we're talking, so I'm not even paying attention to that.
Steven's driving this time.
Which is why we got pulled over.
That is probably why we got pulled over. No, because if I did,
do 90
watch out, there's another one.
Trev can literally do 90 through here, and nobody cares. I get behind the wheel for 20 miles, and we get pulled over for following too closely.
I think that they wanted us, like I said, man. They had K9 and everything, but they were solely mistaken. We are not those kind of people. But no, it's definitely crazy to see. I mean, and to go back to the East Coast where we're from, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier about the variations of the land. Now we're coming into more of a hillier, a little bit more hardwood type area with agriculture on top of it. Big ag flat fields, little bit more hilly than we were in Illinois and Iowa. And you can just kind of see the difference as you start to go down. Now once we get into eastern Iowa and so on and so forth, it's definitely going to get a little bit crazier, I guess. And then we get up even more. Pennsylvania is even more hilly with less agriculture. So it's cool to see the change and why the deer are what they are as you come across the country west.
Definitely, man. It really makes me want to contemplate not putting my Maryland and Pennsylvania time in this fall and jumping over to the Ohio side and giving that a shot. Just to get on some different terrain, hunt a little different way, and, change that experience level. Learn something new.
I think it would be cool to definitely come out west and hunt. I mean, look at, dude, they got all kinds of old ladder stands and shit in the woods. It's cool to see. I'm, after this weekend and sitting and talking to Mr. Chandler, Lord Chandler, as they call him, Austin Chandler, the big buck king he is, I'm actually going to end up probably planning a trip with him 2021. I'm very set on it, I think. Well, no, I don't think. I am very set on it.
If you're going to book a hunt with someone, that's probably the guy. He's legit. He knows what he's talking about, and he's not going to put you on bullshit just to take your money.
And I think it's incredible that he's now building a guide service in Illinois, and he's not doing it for the money. He's doing it for the experience, to put his hunters on big bucks. And he truly means it, and he believes in it, and he's someone that I trust and does very, very well in the deer woods. So if I'm going to come hunt west, that's who I'm going to come hunt with, honestly. Just to experience it and learn it from his perspective. And I think to see the versatility or to make myself more versatile from hunting the west to the east. But it's definitely fucking crazy. There's no toll booth.
Trev's gonna have an aneurysm over this toll booth thing.
This is so stupid. It drives me nuts. Because what it's doing, and so I'll give you guys a little heads up on it, is every time we go to pass an exit, if we get off the exit, this stupid thing tells us that there's a toll booth. Yeah, okay, we get it. There's a fucking toll booth. But we're not getting off that exit, so what does it really matter? Does it matter?
I don't think it matters. It's just reading it, and that's what it's going with. Let's see if this truck tries to be an idiot and cut us off.
It's complete
Too bad.
Bullshit. But no, I'm excited to get back home, honestly. I mean, in all the times and travels of going places and doing things and going to shows, it's always nice to just go home.
Yeah, I look forward to relaxing, getting back to some clean food, getting out on our own properties and see if we can pick up some bone now that everybody back home seems to be starting to find them, and just getting back into a normal routine, at least for another week or two.
I know we were talking at breakfast, and we were talking about how everybody out here is finding sheds and making piles of sheds, and you talk to them, and they're finding this shed and that shed, and their friends are finding this shed, that shed, and then me and Steven are like, yeah, when we get back home, I can't wait because we're going to go shed hunting. And I said, yeah, we're going back to the East Coast. It's not the same, just so you know. And there is going to be a lot of disappointment when you go back and start to shed hunt.
Nah, man. No disappointment there.
Or we just don't get the numbers of 21, 25 sheds.
Or the size.
Yeah, well, the size. Oh, my God, the size. I can't even.
Seems like the average size over here, what people were finding is that of my best finds. It's insane.
And it's funny is that, like, you lose the judgment, I think. And I'm glad that the Iowa Deer Classic is when it is, because if it was closer to deer season, like, a 130 would walk by me and be like, nah, that's a 1.5 year old deer. We can't shoot that one. After seeing all the deer. It's something else, man. Was there anything at the show, product-wise or booth-wise, that kind of stood out to you?
I don't know. We saw a lot of actually really cool stuff. The 360 turkey decoy. That really has some friggin' cool applications. Just to give movement to any decoy. And, of course, all of the broadside camo stuff. That was new. It was unique. Talking to the Gobbler Geek, that was fun. He has a really sweet sounding reed, and just watching him BS and tell us about his passion and why he does it, it was interesting. And I'm glad there are still people like that in the industry who do it themselves in their basement out of pure passion, not driven as a business. So, there is still hope for the everyday guy to enjoy the outdoors, and we saw a lot of that there. How about you? What was your favorite?
I mean, it was really cool to see. Honestly, one thing that sticks out right off the bat is Johnny Utah and having his own booth and selling his hats and his bourbon,
the new logo.
Bourbon barrel calls. Yeah, the new logo. He's got a grunt tube out too, so he's really doing it, man, and digging in deep. And it's cool to see him and watch him grow throughout his adventures. And he's got a ton of hunts this year, so it was cool to see him and see his booth. A couple other booths that kind of stood out for me was there was a lot more women-driven booths. And what I mean by that is there's a lot more, the rack booth, the for women's breast cancer. They will raise awareness, like I Love My Rack or whatever that one is. There was the camo one where they have the zip-off butt for the women's camo.
Right.
That was there. And there was a couple more. I didn't really swing by, but they had more women.
A lot of women-owned business, too.
Yeah, a lot of women-owned businesses, actually. So it's good to see in the hunting industry, especially with, the drive to try and get more people involved in the industry with the dying rate of outdoorsmen. When you have a woman hunter, it grows because the children after her follow in her footsteps, and she's also more apt to get more people involved because she is a woman's hunter.
Right.
So that's huge for this industry, and it's really cool to see that there is women businesses out there, and they're doing that, and they're moving forward and getting more women involved, because if they get the women involved, then the husbands get to be more involved, right?
That's right.
So I'm not against this. I think it's a great thing, and girls, keep doing what you're doing, because it definitely helps out our industry.
And husbands, don't be ashamed when your wife kills everything bigger than you, because that gives you an excuse to have to be out more to try to catch up, at least in their minds. So, and I say that from experience. I've still yet to even compare turkey sizes to that of my wife's. So, good excuse.
And not even that, but you can get more mounts in the house.
You're right. I've got tail fans, she's got full mounts, and I can't get a full mount until it's something more unique or bigger. So, the bigger she gets, the bigger I get. It just makes it funner.
That isn't so your wife hunts with you a ton.
Oh yeah,
Spends a lot of time.
She's my hunt partner.
That's incredible.
Our anniversary always falls on opening week of turkey season, so we tend to spend our anniversary turkey hunting. And I mean, you can't ask for much more than a wife who wants to spend their anniversary out in the woods hunting. She's also a die-hard bow hunter. She's had a lot of great luck with deer. She had a rough season this year with the bow and deer, just due to fluke circumstances.
You said doo-doo.
Over and over. Doo-doo, yeah. Doo-doo-doo.
Sorry.
You're good, man. But, yeah, she is very supportive of all of this, of everything we do, of us being in the woods, of us getting the word out. She's very supportive in the background workings, some of the social media stuff. I mean, she's got her foot behind us in the manner of supporting us, and if we screw up, then the foot comes up and kicks us in the ass. So, and your wife much the same. She's the boss. So and
I guess where I'm trying to go with this, honestly, man, it is just the importance of having the balance and the love and the support behind you. If it's not there, there's no point in us doing what we do every single day.
Behind every great hunter is an even better wife.
I love when you said that. You said that this weekend, and I really, truly took that.
Yeah, and that was to, who was it? The Hush Covers crew. The guy had an idea, and guess who built it? His wife. And, I pointed that out to him. I said, every successful hunter, there's always a great wife behind him.
And going along with that, I mean, like, I wouldn't be part of any podcast if it wasn't for my wife. She stands behind me and my stupid adventures wherever they decide to take me, whether it's the Beetle Shed or it's the podcast traveling or it's hunting here or hunting there. I bet you she looks at me and goes, "What in the fucking world are we doing? You're driving halfway across the country to go and hang out with your friends, or you're going here to go hunting, or you have this imagination of doing this or doing that, but being so supportive." And my wife isn't a hunter. She has yet to hunt. She has her own bow. She shoots. She target shoots with us. She will be 3D shooting with us this season. She's been out bow fishing with me. She spent endless hours on the boat in the rain.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hear she's also a better fisherman than you.
She is. She spends a lot of time fishing with me. I don't get to fish, so she's actually the one filling the freezer for us for the winter. So throughout the summer, she's constantly bottom fishing on the boat that I work on to fill the freezer, because I very rarely get time to fish during the day. I only fish at night, and more of that's trophy fishing. So she bottom fishes, catching black sea bass, flukes, so on and so forth. But I guess the moral of all this is get your wife involved. Get your significant other, your girlfriend, friends that are girls involved in the sport. Bring them out shed hunting. Bring them out scouting. Bring them out 3D hunting. Your good friend Andrew was here and visited us this weekend.
Yeah.
And in conversation, he wanted to go to the TAC in Arizona this week. Was it Arizona?
No, he was wanting to go to the Colorado.
The Colorado TAC. And his wife said, "Well, no, you can't go because I don't have a bow and not able to shoot." So lucky for him, now she'll be getting involved and shooting. And it sounds like she's been to these events before and been 3D shooting or shooting with Andrew, and now wants to get involved. So,
and as soon as we sent her over the picture of that nice, pretty pearl teal Elite Ember, we got her mind really spinning. So maybe in a few months here we'll have 2 new members of Team Elite. So
to join the Elite family.
Shameless shout out.
Yeah. It was good to see Christian.
Oh, definitely.
It was cool to see the whole Elite crew, Larry Mack, Phil Vanderpool, Ryan Hauser, and their whole family there. It was cool to stop in, say hello, shake hands, exchange some hugs, talk to them.
They're just good, down-home, salt-of-the-earth people. You take care of them.
For yourself.
They take care of you.
Christian was busting my balls.
Well,
he told me I couldn't be in the booth.
Yeah, he made you
for
step
yourself.
outside the line.
Yeah, and I shoot fucking Elite forever.
Oh, yeah. That was quite fun.
And that's what it is, man. The camaraderie of the shows. It's really important, because if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't keep me coming back for more.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And I think even not being in the industry, just being a spectator of it, there's still that same feel every single day when you walk into one of those shows. Because a lot of people don't know who we are when we go to those shows, and they still treat you like you're a friend, like you're family to them.
Yeah, nobody looks down on anybody. It's not you're a celebrity and I'm everyday Joe. It's just everybody's an everyday Joe. They just have a particular piece and part in what they do. So you don't have that celebrity feel when you're hanging out talking to these guys, because they are just everyday hunters, everyday work people. I mean, nobody at that show, we tried to name them off, nobody we knew at that show strictly did that with exclusion to very few. Everyone else works a regular job. They have a 9 to 5 per se. This outdoor stuff is nothing but a side gig for everybody in there.
Just an enjoyment of it, and they do it because they want to do it. It was, in having the conversation with Gene Miller, was definitely kind of one of those things where it put into a huge perspective that everybody does this because they love it. They do it because they want to do it. And that it doesn't matter your creed, your financial ability. Everybody has a common ground to talk. And everybody gets along very, very well. It's like putting two veterans in the same room together.
I warned you about putting me
as you
and
would
Gene
know
together.
that, right? Exactly, and a lot of you guys are veterans, and you know what happens when you put two veterans in the same room talking. It's the same as putting two outdoorsmen in the same room. There's a lot of common ground, and you can really cover a lot of ground together talking.
Oh yeah, we could have gone on for hours.
Oh my God, come on, you kidding me? For sure.
Yeah, Gene's a cool man. One, his story is amazing, and the recent developments in his story is even cooler. So, hopefully he gets a chance to put that out, but that's not my place to say. It's just the story continues and it keeps getting better.
And I'll tell you this is I had the chance to spend a long weekend last year with Gene. We came into Illinois to go to the WCB shoot, and he offered up his home. And when he found out that we were coming back out for the shoot this year, he said, "Do you need a place to stay?" That was the first words out of his mouth. So that goes to show, man, you get deep into some of these families and reach out to some of these people, and they really are friends and family. I've learned this over the past couple of years of really diving deep into this is don't be afraid to reach out, man. Some of my best friends have come from this, and people that I talk to daily. One of them is my man Bones, Eric Smith.
Bone on top of the hill.
He calls...
Patch of grass.
Oh, you saw an actual antler?
Yeah, sitting right on top of that little mound.
And we didn't stop?
Yeah, that's a little too far into their private property.
Jesus.
And there was a cop right back there on the side of the road.
Well, so the Eric Smith, man, reaches out to me regularly just to say what's up. Matt Wiltz, Reinhardt, Drew Walter. The list goes on endless. Honestly, I mean, I'm sorry if I didn't say your name, but there's a list of guys that I talk to regularly that are hunters. And it's just cool, man. I surround my life around it. And there is a lot of really great people out there, and you see this as you travel and get to meet everybody. So, I mean, fuck, I met this guy.
Yeah, somehow we ended up, through all of this, in the same car driving across the country, making shenanigans as we go.
Yeah, and that's what it is, fucking shenanigans.
Yep.
And I, hey, just a huge shout out for my man, Chad. I know that you're going to kill stag soon, and we put out on our drive down a 30-minute show, and I get a text message from him, from Chadzilla. Bro, you had an 18-hour ride, and it was only a 30-minute episode. So you get that too, which is fucking awesome, man. It's cool that you can get your balls busted constantly by good friends that you've met throughout this. Ryan Davis, that dude texts me every Friday. Woo-hoo! He's just the fucking man, dude. And Johnny Simonetti, you talk to him regularly.
Oh yeah, me and Johnny. I mean, we were talking this morning. He called us at midnight the other night. Sorry, saw white in the field. Called us at midnight the other night, hoping to catch us all out hanging out and bullshit, and he just happened to catch us on the night that none of us could hang any longer, so we were all back in the room. But yeah, greatest hype man there is, and an even better friend. The guy will give you the shirt off his back and will do anything for you. So Johnny, we appreciate you big time, and we'll definitely be seeing you in April.
And I mean, the only reason I went down this rabbit hole, honestly, is just to thank the people that have stood behind us throughout this whole entire venture. It hasn't been very long, but these are the people that make us continue to do what the fuck we're doing, and drive us to do these things, man. Is those friendships mean the nearest and dearest to our hearts as we travel around, and they're always fucking oh man, you're at Iowa, oh you're at Ohio, oh you're here, you're out there, you know, just totally just fucking awesome. And it's just cool to feel the love, man. And if it wasn't for guys like you, we probably wouldn't be doing this.
Definitely,
I would have gave up a long fucking time ago.
I think the applicable way to say it is that everyone out there gives us, or even better, gives the drive in the outdoor drive.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
and following their stories, man, that shit is the coolest for me, man. Like, throughout the hunting season, to watch all of these guys completely be 100% successful, and I think that a lot of them get more excited for me or us than we do for ourselves.
yeah, which is almost weird.
And vice versa. I get wicked excited watching these guys fucking be completely and utterly successful. I am so looking forward to turkey season and watching these guys kill fucking gobblers.
Oh yeah.
And watching it, man. And I really...
A lot of it's coming out as a lot of guys, just from not just us, but other shows, other friends, other connections made through these shows, they're going to go out and they're all trying new things this year. And that's what makes it exciting.
And that's the other thing. I mean, that's a valid point, is that with all these connections of all these people throughout the podcast world or social media, we are constantly doing things to push people to go out of the norm and push their limits and try different things. Say decap a bird. Say do it with a bow over a gun. I mean, 1,000,001 different things. Try different products. Do this, do that. And it's all just because of the power of the people.
Definitely.
And that's huge, in my opinion.
No, it is. I mean, once you don't get better until you leave your comfort zone. Like in deer hunting per se, there may be that one stand that I had a really good hunt out of one year. But if I just go to that stand every time I hunt, the chances of repeating that are significantly lower. But if I get out of my comfort zone and I go try something different, somewhere new, a new tactic, a new setup, you know, just to change the approach till you're just outside of that verge of your comfort zone, you'll be amazed at how much better your odds increase. And as soon as that light bulb goes off, it becomes a rabbit hole.
I think there was a big talk too when we were actually at the Out on the Limb booth with Matt Garris and our buddy from Backwoods Mobile Gear, Mike, about going above and beyond to go out of the norm as it comes to mobile hunting. Matt was talking about being able to, he hunts in Oklahoma, and being able to hunt on his private land and hunt over bait. And he wanted to obviously spend more time going the mobile route and going above and beyond and out of his comfort zone to go and do those things. And Mike was the same way, doing water access, going on this private land or this public land and going further than everybody else, going 3 miles in or going over that next knoll, over that next creek, and really pushing yourself to go above and beyond past your limits. And you see a lot of people that are very, very, very successful in killing the biggest deer of their lives by going above and beyond and past their limits. And that's huge. Because everybody is so set in going to that one stand that somebody shot a deer in 25 years ago, so that's a stand that you have to go to, and they sit there morning, noon, and night. And it doesn't, I feel, is that, yeah, that might actually work sometime, but it doesn't. Those deer may be changing their feed, they might be changing their bedding, something might have changed in the past couple of years where them deer aren't using that area. So my thing is, like, if I set a set and I'm not seeing movement or I'm not seeing a lot of deer action, I go and move myself to somewhere else and find that fresh sign.
You take that thought, like this stand we're passing right now, for instance, which probably will never need move because it looks like it's a wonderful place that I wish I could hunt. But 10 years of growth in a wooded area may change everything about the ecosystem. You know, it may be great when that undergrowth is low, it's soft, it's brittle, the deer can get on it, but as those woody stems get harder and a little taller and it becomes a lot thicker, they're going to move out and find something a little more palatable. They may not come back through there unless they're spooked out of wherever they are now. So those are things you got to take into consideration wherever you're hunting. Is you hunt the same tree for 20 years, and if you're not out there maintaining it, it's going to change, which is going to change the deer's pattern.
And that's truly true. You see it a lot with a lot of guys, especially non-mobile hunters that go to that one ladder stand and they stick in that one area, that one property, when those deer could be moving just over the ridge, and they change constantly. I mean, I see it tremendously on a lot of my private lands that, like, from year to year, that the paths tend to move or whatever, and that might be because somebody moved into the house down road and has dogs. Or I see it on a different level than a lot of people obviously do.
You almost get to watch it on a micro scale, because everything is so condensed and defined where you are. Just such a subtle change, you'll see the influence.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Somebody moves into a neighborhood on some of the private property, and they have a dog, or they have kids that are in the backyard, or, you know, there might be a 2-acre parcel that those deer are running through. Now they're going even further, and it's changing their trail just a couple hundred yards out of where they were before. So it's kind of crazy. And then you can see that, like you're saying, on a micro scale, and I can see how that works in an area that's where the food source changes on a bigger scheme, and does the same exact thing. So it's definitely crazy. So I would recommend becoming more mobile, and I think that's why the mobile game has kind of like picked up. A lot of guys are saddle hunting, or they're going with mobile hang-ons like Lone Wolf Custom Gear,
XOP,
Out on the Limb. It's just they're trying to get more mobile, because I think a lot more people are starting to realize it, and as it goes on, that's what happens. Bro, I gotta ask one question.
What's up?
We've passed like fucking 5 dead muskrats on the side of the road.
I've been watching that.
Have you realized that?
Yeah.
And I haven't seen any place where a fucking muskrat would live.
Irrigation holes, man. All these properties out here that have irrigation, they'll run up and down those lines.
That's crazy to me.
I mean, where else are they going to hang out?
I have no idea, but there's just been dead ones everywhere. Not what I expected at all.
Well, it makes me actually wonder what the muskrat trapping game's like around here.
Fucking insane. Midwest trapping is insane.
So,
Greg Staggs would tell you about that.
gotcha.
He fucking kills them.
Toll booth.
Oh, she was correct this time.
Whoa. Toll booth.
Let's see what the damage is on this one.
Who the hell knows? It can't be any more than $10.
Yep.
I know that. Jesus, driving across country sucks.
Toll roads suck. They're
Yeah.
great because they get you there a little smoother, but
A little bit.
who the hell wants to stop for tolls?
So trapping is another thing, man, and I'm definitely, it's something that I grew up doing, or not grew up, but I did it in my younger age. I really, truly, honestly enjoy it, and I think that we're definitely going to dive into trapping.
Definitely.
Full-fledged. I had talked to Greg about potentially doing an episode. I have somebody else up my sleeve that I definitely want to get on the podcast for the trapping aspect and kind of break that down, because I bet you there's a lot of outdoorsmen out there that follow along that may be very interested in trapping. It's another avenue to stay alert of your surroundings. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of, so you think it's hard to pinch a deer or find out where a deer is traveling and what type of corridor in this pinch point, this saddle, moving here, moving there. Well, you want to become a really good sportsman is try and get a coyote to step in a 1x1 square. And that is the hardest thing that you will ever do. Or get a muskrat to swim through a 1x1 square, or kill a beaver in a 3x3 square. That really makes you a true sportsman in my eyes, because it's probably one of the hardest things you'll. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
It's
I
one
think
of
a lot
the
of
most
people,
primitive methods.
and you'll learn a lot about the land when you're trapping. You'll really pay attention to a lot more than you ever paid attention to ever before. They literally just closed the fucking lane that we are in.
Yeah, well, I guess they're gonna have to let us through.
Do they clean it up as we go? Like,
They ain't got a choice, or I'm running a barrier.
That's fucking bullshit. That's not cool at all. How the fuck do you close a lane?
I don't know, but they did.
Oh my god. Hey, it is what it is. What
I
else
would
are you gonna do?
I would assume they're gonna clear it out. We'll just have to see how this goes.
Yeah, fuck it. This is our adventures. This is what we fucking deal with. Man,
Something new every 100 miles.
I totally agree. So I guess it was a pretty successful trip to Iowa, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're halfway home. We got 4 hours till we reach Ohio to drop you off, and then we each have another 8 hours home.
Yep.
So we have a lot of drive time ahead of us. But we just want to check in and kind of give you guys a little filler and add some closure to the Outdoor Drive podcast. We're paying a fucking... Oh, okay. So they are going to let us pay for it.
Well, they ain't got much choice.
We just wanted to give a little bit of a closure to the Outdoor Classic in Iowa.
Don't mind the noise.
Yeah, it's a little crazy here. Man. Oh, cool. All right, back on the road and out of the fucking toll. Fuck the change. Can you get it out?
Trying to get the receipt.
Ah, well, whatever. It is what it is. So,
All right.
it was a complete success. We had a blast, and we want to.
They give you change in whatever the hell that is.
Oh, that's a fucking Sacagawea or whatever that is there, right? The $1.
Oh yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's what that
okay.
is, the golden coin. Yeah, fuck it. So anyways, but Iowa Deer Classic was a complete success, man. The hospitality was absolutely phenomenal. We had fun. We enjoyed ourselves. We indulged. And we can't thank everybody else who was there.
I mean, that's pretty much it. It was a good time. It was a good ride. And we appreciate you guys all taking it right here on the Outdoor Drive.